All right, still out here at Spooky Nook at the Elite Softball Coaches Convention. Now joined with Joey Lye, head coach at Bucknell University and also a player on the Canadian women's national team. Joey, thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
So is this your first time down at Spooky Nook?
It is not. I have come here a number of times to work clinics, attend and speak at conventions, as well as do my own training.
Awesome. Pretty amazing facility, is it not?
It is. I'm amazed every time I walk through the door, just at the number of people in here, the programs going on all simultaneously. It's a pretty amazing place.
It sure is. So first year for this coaches convention, you're one of the presenters. Tell me what you think so far.
So far it's been very enjoyable, just being able to pick brains of different people, hear perspectives from others that I've never met, a couple of people who I have followed through their careers, and so it's been really fun to touch base with different people as well as share my own philosophies with others.
Cool. So you're, as I mentioned, you are a coach at Bucknell. You're also a player on the Canadian national team. What's that like, making that transition from player to coach on probably a pretty relative constant basis?
Yes, it's very challenging just from the time standpoint and finding time to work in all of the training that I need to do as well as take care of everything at work. I have been very fortunate to find amazing employers that are very supportive throughout that process and my journey with regard to playing, and understand that my schedule is going to be different than most other coaches at the school, and just being supportive through that. And most of our stuff falls in the summer, so it doesn't conflict too much. Our tryout camp is in January prior to the start of school, so that works out as well. And it's just every now and then that there's a conflict and we make it work. I have a great staff that helps me with that as well, covers when I'm not there, as well as helps me train when I am on campus. And so I've been very fortunate to find a really good situation that works well together.
That's awesome. How long have you been on the national team?
About to enter my 10th year on the team, which is crazy to think about, that almost a third of my life has been with Team Canada. But my very first experience with them, I tried out right after college and was one of the last cuts. And so that was probably one of the most impactful moments of my life, just motivating me to go after what I wanted. And now here we are.
Awesome. I think that's an important point that you just made. That you got cut, but it motivated you. Today, a lot of young people don't necessarily have that same motivation. Unfortunately, with youth travel sports today, it seems like if you're not good enough to make this team, mom or dad are going to go start a team that you can play on. And I tell people all the time, if Michael Jordan played in today's youth sports climate, when he got cut from his high school basketball team, his dad would have went out and gotten, 4 kids who weren't quite as good as Michael and started their own AAU team so that Michael could be the star. So I think that's an important lesson for young people to learn. If you can just kind of expand on that a little bit about, what it did for your psyche and why it was so important for you to really work hard to go out and make that team.
Absolutely. I wish I could say that was the first time it happened, but when I was younger playing hockey, I went out for a higher level team, got cut, and those coaches ended up asking me to play for them at a different position later on. And high school, got cut from the field hockey team, and when I was turning my stick in, the head coach said, well, if you want to come out to practice, we'd be happy to have you as a practice player. And I ended up starting the second half of the season and going on to captain the team later in my career. And so then, when this happened with Team Canada, it wasn't like it was a brand new experience, and I'd seen those examples of when hard work does pay off. And so it just provided me that opportunity, that motivation to turn around and prove to the coaches I could make the adjustments they wanted me to make, and to prove to myself that I was able to play at that level. And so it took a lot of hard work, and I think that's something that isn't highlighted as much as it should be, is all the behind the scenes, the hours, the sweat, the frustrations, and everything that goes along with it in order to achieve what you want to achieve.
Yeah, awesome. Like I said, I think that's an amazing lesson for young people today. Not something that's really preached as much as I think it should be. The school that you coach at, highly academic school. What type of challenges does that create for you as a coach at times?
Well, we coach a lot of overthinkers who want to be perfectionists as well, and so there's just kind of balancing that mindset and allowing the players to understand how important failure is, and working through that failure. And when we are failing, that means we're pushing ourselves outside our comfort zone and getting better on a daily basis, as well as just the time constraints that we have with all of the work that the student athletes have to get done. We try to be very mindful of packing as much as we can into a 2-hour practice as opposed to drawing it out to a 4-hour practice, which we would be permitted to do, but just, being mindful of the time that it takes away from their studies and wanting them to be able to balance those two things. We work really hard to have efficient practices and get as much effective work done as we can in 2 hours.
Awesome. Baseball and softball were just added back to the Olympic Games. How exciting is that for you?
Immensely exciting. I think, when I joined the team, it was 2 years after the previous Olympics in '08 that baseball and softball had been a part of. And so for me, I have taken a lot of pride in being on the national team despite not having that opportunity. And so to have put in those years of work and just seen the progress the team has made with regard to culture, with regard to skill, performance on the field, and then for us to be able to have that opportunity to qualify this coming summer, it's extremely exciting. I think it's great for the game as well.
That's awesome. And then last thing, one of the things I ask all our speakers here, what are one of the biggest life lessons that the game of softball has taught you?
Wow. I think I would have to go back to the failure piece and just, being told no in 2009 with Team Canada, and just on a daily basis, the failure that softball throws at you with regard to at-bats, that swing and whiff at a changeup and sometimes look like a fool, and to be able to bounce back from those moments, especially very quickly in our game, has taught me a lot with regard to life and work and relationships, and just being able to withstand those failures and those moments where things don't look so great, and finding a way to turn it around.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for joining me. Good luck this season, both as a player and a coach, and hope to see you again sometime.
Thank you so much.